put the video on. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure. Okay.
I think only 18 participants I could see in the list, but then as many as 37 is the list of the candidates. But we can't wait for everybody to join, because otherwise I'll not be in a position to complete the syllabus. So it's good that before time everybody join and then get the advantage of listening to the lectures. See, today I will not be able to share my PowerPoint, but nevertheless, this being the first class, I just wanted to know how many of you have some background, that means undergraduation, forensic science is also there, some courses. So how many of you are conversant with at least the basics of forensic science? I would like to know. Then we can start off. Yes? Because this is an online class. I will not be able to see your faces, and if there is no response from your side, you will be at a disadvantaged position. So I want everybody to be interactive so that we can take things forward. Yes,
Yeah, in that case, let me start.
Who is this? You can introduce yourself and then you can say.
Yeah, sure. Sorry for the trouble. My name is Ashish Bhatt and I do not have any background as such, you said. Although I do have a background in my graduation, maths and statistics and physics.
Oh, how about others?
My name is Sati Singh Chauhan, and I have a background of studying forensic science in my master's, and I have been teaching in forensic science as an assistant professor for 2.5 years. So I do have a background of forensic science.
When you are already teaching, I don't understand the logic why and what prompted you to join this course, if I can ask.
Actually, ma'am, I wanted to have a specialization in particular subject which I did not have in my master's. That's why I joined this course.
Why in particular this particular crime scene? What is your PG diploma?
My PG diploma is in document examination.
You opted for document examination.
Yes, ma'am.
Earlier it was not there, MSc it was not there. I think one specialization on documents and fingerprints.
I did not do any specialization in particular subject in my master's. So I wanted to get a specialization in this subject. That's why I joined PG diploma.
Others please, quickly, because I such.
My name is Anjali ma'am. I have some background in masters in forensic science. So to gain some experience and to get some knowledge about DNA, I have joined PG.
Okay, what was your specialization in masters?
Forensic science ma'am, general forensics.
General forensics. ठीक है.
Yes.
Others also.
And I have my background in bachelor's of forensic science. I have just completed my bachelor's degree.
Okay. Yes, others quickly.
My name is Yajisha and I have a background in technology of my master's. I just completed my master's this year only.
Otherwise, let me ask others, those who have not done any, previous exposure to forensics. If there are some people in the group, I request them to interact first, so that I'll have an idea how many of you really have background of forensics and how many do not have, so that I can modulate my lectures accordingly.
Hello, good evening, ma'am.
Yeah, this is Komal.
Yes, ma'am. I do not have any certification in forensic science. I did my graduation from 103 in BSc Bioscience.
Yes, others? Mr. Saket Reddy, are you there?
Good evening, ma'am.
Yes, who is this?
Good evening, ma'am. Myself, Anuta Hussain.
Yes, tell
I
me.
don't have any background in forensic science,
हाँ,
but I am doing MSc in zoology.
zoology, ठीक है. Yes, please, others. I think I could see some Palak, Singhal, then Saket Reddy. Yes. Who is this?
My name is Ashwini.
Right. Right. Admit Anna. Hello? Who is?
Ma'am, I am Shraddha.
Ah.
And I am from the science background. I don't have that much knowledge about forensic, and I am currently working as an assistant professor and teaching in Nancy department.
Okay.
For research topic, I am present as the diploma in crime scene.
Yes. Others? Others should respond, please.
Hello, ma'am. Good evening.
Yes.
My name is Deepika Mira. I do some regular course in chemistry.
So can I take that, more than 50% of the students have the background of forensics? Can I take that way?
Yes, ma'am.
And this will be the first class, I think, after your admission. You have any idea about the syllabus and all? You have how many papers you will be having, and then syllabus I think is already shared of the first paper.
Yes, ma'am.
But then second paper and all, is there any idea for you what will be the second paper? Irrespective diplomas, I think it will be different. For crime scene it will be different, DNA and fingerprints, documents, then ballistics, it will be something different. I hope you have the syllabus with you. But one thing is, the first paper, which is called Basics of Crime Evidence and Law, remains the same. It will be the same for all the PG students. Got the point?
Yes, ma'am.
So what we will do is, we will presume that though more than 50% of you know something about forensic science, but then for the benefit of those who have no background of forensic science, let us presume that we will start from the beginning, isn't it? And of course, those who have the background, I will be taking them as my ambassadors, and then you should also help your colleagues. After all, now we have you all have become colleagues now. So I'll take you as my ambassadors, and then in case if there is some difficulty for the people, those who have no background, you can help me out. Is that arrangement okay?
Sure, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So we'll just try to understand the syllabus first, and then how to go about it and all. I think it is also communicated to you that we'll have the classes regular from 6 to 7. Is the timing okay for everybody? Is the timing okay?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Because even for me, I have other official works, and then net is an issue. Net is an issue in my office, so I thought from residence or from my house, it will be more convenient for me to take this. In case one system fails, have other alternative in place. So that is one thing. And the other thing is, which methodology you would like to have. Is that PowerPoint to be shared in advance, or PowerPoint, as we discussed, PowerPoint should go on, or what mode you want me to proceed?
Ma'am, sharing PPT in advance will be an advantage for all of us, I guess.
Even I am thinking that way. So, in case if I have some issue of networking also, you can share. One of you can share, because I have already would like to send the PowerPoint in advance. So, one of you you can share the screen, so that I can go ahead with the PowerPoint. So that way is also okay. Now, coming to the proper the nomenclature that is given to the different programs are different. Like for example, if you are in crime scene management stream, now the nomenclature that is given to that PG diploma is PGCSM. CSM in short is crime scene management, PG diploma in crime scene management, and S1 stands for semester 1, and P1 stands for paper 1. So like that you will have 2 papers in SEM 1 and 2 papers in SEM 2. So in addition to that, there are different exams that are conducted periodically, and while during the counseling also, I think enough instructions have been given to all of you regarding the practical component of it, and then the practical exam, and then the teaching assessment exam. Then you have mid-semester exams. Then at the end of each semester you have semester end exams. I think you are all aware, and enough is there on the website also. You can leisurely go through the website and then understand for yourself what is MSc. MSc means mid-semester exam, and TA means teaching assessment. Like that there are some shortcuts and all. So how many marks for each paper, and in addition to these 2 papers theory, which is called S1 P1, our paper is Basics of Crime, Evidence and Law. So similarly, each semester, as I told you, in addition to theory, we have practical exam also. And in addition, S1 P4 will be your minor project. You are supposed to do a minor project, select the topic of your choice, and then do some literature survey or whatever, some minor project you may have to take up, and the cumulative marks of all these papers will be there, and the minimum qualifying mark will be 50%. I think these things you are all aware. Are you?
Yeah, I do have a question regarding this minor project. It would be some kind of field work kind of thing, right?
Field work, or there are different options that are given. If you just browse the syllabus that is given to you, it says some field work, then visit and all. I mean, several options are given in the see, it says field work, field visit, crime scene visit, and then minor project. So like that there are unit 1, unit 2, unit 3. So crime scene visit will be little difficult unless you have some tie-up with the institutions and all. It will be, or with police, it will be normally difficult. Otherwise we can have a simulated crime scene kind of a thing. And field visit, of course, nearby central state. For example, those who have opted for Pune, since we have the advantage of being located in the CFSL premises itself, so we have no issues. We can take the students around central forensic lab and then show the working pattern of each section. And I request you to send your mail, so that I'll try to send it through mail only in that case.
Yes, madam. Yes, madam. If you want, we can.
Please create one. I mean, in the same WhatsApp group, everybody can send your email, so that I can also, link it through mail only.
I am sending to them.
For me, it's okay. Those who have not done, they have present in the class. Online schools cannot help understand it, and then them so क्या होगा? Link mail some powder which is very fine. Right, put it in the bottom. अगर छपक वैसे नर्सिंग को फाइल बड़ी नहीं वो डेवलप में मदद होगा हमारा. तो पाउडर टेक्सचर शुड बी सच दैट इट शुड बी वल्गर. In they should also take initiative of sending their mail so that linking can happen through mail.
People can open their videos, they can show their business. That is not
हाँ नहीं and the video and will like should not create of the bad thing is not so much because it is important. So ज़्यादा but you can take patent on that also. Indigenous घर में जो ऐसा चीज़ें हैं उसको पाउडर जैसा यूज कर सकते हैं. डिस्टॉर्शन एक्सक्यूज फ्रॉम दैट ग्राउंड but I am trying my level best to connect myself because office at times it doesn't work, so I am taking pains to deliver this lecture from my residence. So that should be the thing. Now you cannot directly pour powder cut सुबह निकालो पान पापड़ी जैसा ऐसा करो उसके ऊपर डालो तो क्या होता वो ओरिजिनल. That is the reason I am trying my level best to connect, establish a proper link. So any other not so could you directing to this हो जाए थोड़ा हम थोड़ा ले क्लास में उतना खराब हो जो भी होने वाला वो खराब हो जाएगा. बराबर नंबर है इसका सर. तो जब भी अप्लाई करना है सर्विस के ऊपर हम करना क्या है थोड़ा थोड़ा अमाउंट हमको एक वॉच ग्लास में ऐसा सेगमेंटेशन बुक और अदरवाइज I strongly believe that students most of the time they not have access to books. Those who get invest on books it's okay, but and paint brush पेंट करते हैं ना पेंट ब्रश ओले का पेंट ब्रश का कैरेक्टर कौन सा होना चाहिए जैसा पाउडर का हम सोचे ब्रश को so many books and then the essence of we try to put as a not in one book and then try to give you that soft copy of it.
that could be good.
And I have also voluntarily I have opened up lot for Telegram groups and blogs and all. If somebody is interested, old students are in a problem. हाँ स्मॉल से मतलब क्या है बिल्कुल ऐसे ही हमको दिखना ना इतना छोटा है हमको दिखता नहीं. इट शुड बी साइज का नहीं. ब्रिजल्स जो होता है ब्रिजल्स का मतलब क्या है इसका हेयर जो होता है ना ब्रिजल्स बोलते हैं उसको वो तो फाइन होना चाहिए. शुड बी फाइन इट शुड बी फाइन एंड दे शुड नॉट बी टचिंग ईच अदर. दे शुड बी फ्री ऐसा हल्का सा फ्री होना चाहिए. वो तो ब्रिजल्स इतना वो नेचर ऐसा होना चाहिए एंड इट शुड बी फाइन. Now this is let us say the brush which is camel brush भी होता है feather brush lot of varieties. I'll show you the kit later classes because I'm not taking serious classes right now. I'm giving a general overview of all the subjects. I'm only giving a as per syllabus but I'm giving a very general view. I'll be dealing elaborate. Generally इतना है तो elaborate कितना होगा बंदा सोच रहे अभी परेशान हो रहे सोच रहे. So don't worry, your concern is our concern to ensure all of you get 70%, इसीलिए 90% not 75%. इतना तकलीफ हम दोनों ले रहे नहीं तो ऐसा ही पढ़ा के पढ़ करके पावर पॉइंट रीड करके ऐसा करके हम जा सकते. कोई प्रिवेंट करते हमको ऐसा करने से. Why am I taking so much pain? ये भी दे रहे वो भी दे रहे कथा भी सुना रहे सब सुना रहे क्यों ताकि आप लोगों को अच्छा समझ में आए. I have two extremities. The people who have already background, people don't have. I have to match both the class, both the participants, isn't it? So that is the reason I am going slow little and I'll be little serious. Don't think इतना तो वो सब मालूम है what new things this lady is telling. People will be under that impression, but just bear with me. For other people also I have to bring them on par with you. Should we? Good evening. Should we wait or should we start off? Because only I could see only 18 members joining. The strength I believe. We'll wait for a few minutes. So the strength as per the list that is given to me, 32 participants should be there. we'll wait up to the Indian, we'll wait for, the rest of the people to join, but not invariably, I mean, not infinitely. We'll say another 5-7 minutes, we'll wait and then we can start. Slowly everyone is joining.
Yeah, that's fine.
Which can classify him as a criminal. So that's called criminal profiling. And of course, corpus delicti, which is otherwise called as the body of the crime or essential element of the crime. So these are all the topics that are included in Unit 3. And of course, Unit 3 is little important. Those who do not have the background of forensic science or people with a forensic background also, now law is very, very essential, because most of the time the judiciary, 10%. Yes,
Ma'am, I guess some of the students are not able to join in this classroom.
they are not able to join.
Yes, ma'am.
What is the reason? They have some issues with net, or what is it? One second, I need to admit them. 1 second. Yes, somebody said that most of them are not able to join. What is the reason? We have I think admitted.
Many of them are waiting and they
Yes.
have notes and that from you, so they are waiting for the upload.
I think we have admitted them.
Ma'am, many of the students are texting in the group that they are not able to join.
No, we have just noticed that, just 1 second back we have noticed that, and we have admitted all of them. Those who have joined now, they can say that we have joined, we are admitted and we joined. Joining understand.
Okay. They are able to join.
So I could see participants some 25 in number now. 25. So should we go ahead? So the Unit 3 is all about law, and old laws, if you take some essential sections, very crucial important sections have been included in CRPC, IPC, and similarly in Indian Evidence Act also, though the name is different, but by and large we can say that the content of the section has not changed much, and only thing is they wanted to make it little systematic. For example, the crime related to women they try to put together, and then they have given lot of importance to crime against the weaker group, that is women and children. They have given top priority, and except this reshuffling of some sections, I don't see major change in the structure of the laws, Bail Acts. So that is Unit 3, and of course little of medical legal aspects are also included, like post-mortem report, what is the format of that, and then what is dying declaration, and then what is expert testimony. There are general exceptions if you take Indian Penal Code, and Evidence Act, of course the relevancy of evidence and all. I mean, when it comes to the CRPC component, of course, what is cognizable, non-cognizable, and then framing of charges, bailable, non-bailable. So all these sections are there, and Unit 3 is exclusively dealing with law. And of course, Unit 4 is focusing more on evidence and definition of evidence. How do you classify crime evidences, and then what are physical evidences, and what do you understand by trace evidence? What are the methods of collecting these evidences? How are you going to label these evidences? And finally, how are you going to seal and pack these evidences? And when it comes to hazardous am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
हाँ, तो evidence one thing is, Zoom is not for long. It will expire after 40 minutes. बना सकते हैं को ऐसा नहीं हो that I'll try to send it to mail on out that.
Yes, madam. Yes, madam. If you want, we can.
Please create one. I mean, in this group, बड़ी what should be so that so rough ना चाहिए through mail powder होना चाहिए कैसा bill super those have not done but हम present now in the class online class can also can start giving their email so that I can make some powder which is very fine. I put it in the through by such platform I not see everybody's so I developed mother address to everybody this platform that should and then it in smooth they should have taken more skill of their mail so that linking can happen through mail. अब नेचर होना चाहिए चिपक जाने का गुण ऐसा होना चाहिए इसको and should be the thing and powder should not be too fast of the ball finger is not so much because it is important I mean in the place which but can it doesn't have almost results in which doesn't have net activity जहाँ है उसको issues are there but I don't सकते हैं so this kind of excuses powder इतना count but I am trying हम सोच to connect my as I use भी office है at the cost it doesn't be of work हर एक I am use taking pay to deliver lecture for my residents or should be at least 2-3 or do they should I don't deprive students my experience and my knowledge what a little I have that is the reason I am trying my level best quality डब्बे क्या करना चाहिए so any other brush directly into this खराब हो जाएगा पूरा कम से कम थोड़ा ले में उतना खराब हो जो भी होने वाला खराब से नंबर ऑफ जब इमेज बट देन इसके ऊपर गिविंग अपन करना क्या है थोड़ा को एक 5 ग्लास बाय एंड सम कंटेनर छोटा कंटेनर I strongly believe that students most of the time they not book those invest of brush so I brush most of the paint brush paint giving lot of notes NFS it takes lots of trouble in making powder so brush ko so many books which should be in one ready and then give you that soft copy of it and you temporarily yes opened up lot of for Telegram groups and blogs and all. It's true I am asking you that is only difference. She was an upper who are IPS probation also मतलब क्या blog then this Telegram group open free of cost to some of them. Brazils जो Brazils का मतलब क्या है live there when dealing the live cases and all they will be fine isn't it can should be school and of each my so free of course free होना चाहिए वो Brazils इतना natural था होना चाहिए my Telegram that will be more informative and which camel भी होता है, so what about Telegram group of it? So if later I'm not taking seriously to share, I'm giving a general overview of all the subjects. So are there free of cost and all. Per syllabus interested and general view. So I'll be dealing in gaining more knowledge. Parishan हो रहे sources. Don't worry, you can to ensure of the if you get 21st I can furnish also. It's a taklif हम ले रहे. So can we call this okay PowerPoint करके ऐसा कोई दिन करते ऐसा करते. Tomorrow my timing so much different हम आपको ये मेरे Google this आप
Okay, good everyone.
two extremities and people don't have class both the yes participants, isn't it? So that is reason I am slowly and little don't think so वो सब में new things ladies people under that but just stay with me or other people also bring them par with. So you are supposed to use which type of powder? Parrot you have to tell on your own. बोले तो भी उसका सुनना है ना बोलना है बस. डार्क लगे तो डार्क ही बोलना उनसे जाना. डार्क है लाइट है हाँ विजिबिलिटी अच्छा होना चाहिए. पहले ये डार्क है डार्क के ऊपर डार्क है तो कुछ दिख नहीं. डार्क है तो कौन सा पाउडर यूज करना है? व्हाइट पाउडर टाल्कम पाउडर मैग्नीशियम वाली पाउडर. दे विल गो टू डिटेल्स बट विल कम मे टॉप इन डिटेल. तो वो करने से क्या करना है आगे आगे क्या करना है? हाँ ऑब्जर्व ब्रश का अप्लाई करना आप हो गया एबिलिटी you suppose do people to find ज़्यादा डालिंग ज़्यादा नहीं not करना इतना सब जो है will just help us say moving 1 minute pause wait but moving slowly everyone is flowing
Ma'am, forensic experts will come under the weaknesses of it comes under the judiciary, right? Under the court, so that will be also considered in the judiciary, right?
So it's a wing under judiciary. That's what you mean. See, in the criminal justice system, when you talk of courts and all, whenever there are disputes, isn't it? Disputes do arise. So whenever a dispute arises, there are two parties for that, isn't it? What are the parties? What are they called?
Maybe the victim and the perpetrator.
The victim and the perpetrator.
Yeah.
They are the subjects. They are the subject matter of the court proceedings, isn't it? But then they don't represent, they are being represented by somebody. They will not be coming and arguing, isn't it? They will be represented by somebody. So who will be representing victim?
That depends on prosecution that you might.
There are two parties as I said. There is an aggrieved party and there is a perpetrator as somebody is saying. So perpetrator is there who commits the crime and the victim is the aggrieved party who suffered some loss or damage or injury whatever in the hands of the perpetrator, isn't it? So perpetrator himself will not come to the court and then he will argue things on his behalf. He will be represented by some agency. What is that agency called? Yes? Anybody?
Yeah, the advocates, I guess.
They are not called advocates, they are called prosecuting agency. They are called prosecuting agency. And the accused will be represented. The person who is accused, on whom acquisition is there, on whom acquisition of crime is there, is called an accused. Or if you have some suspicion that this person might have done the crime, then we call him as suspect, isn't it? So mere acquisition makes a person accused. You are accusing somebody of some committing some crime, isn't it? Then
చెప్తున్నాను వచ్చే అడ్మిట్ అంటుంది
yes,
అడ్మిట్ అంటుంది అంత మాట్లాడుతుంది
am I audible now? I have started the second meeting.
ఇన్ గూగుల్ మీట్
Google Meet, I have changed the platform. I think I am audible.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So should we go ahead?
Yes, ma'am.
See, we are only trying to understand the position. Where do we stand as forensic scientists? We have to be under some agency, isn't it? Some department. Now, when we say the criminal justice system is only a judiciary, prosecution, the judiciary, then law enforcement, then we say legislation and all. I mean, where do we stand? Because forensic science as such, it has to be under some department, isn't it? What is that department? It has to come under some ministry, some department, isn't it? So I said, whenever there are disputes are legal matters, legal issues, then parties approach court, isn't it? And there is one party who is fighting for its right, isn't it? Whenever their rights are violated, they will approach court and they have their own evidences and they put forth these evidences before the court, and then if these facts or evidences, if the court feels are admissible and are relevant, then they will admit those facts, isn't it? And there is always the other party which will be antagonistic to the prosecution. So they are called defense lawyers or advocates. So prosecution and defense, these two are the main wings when you talk of courts, isn't it? Now there can be rights which are civil in nature, rights which are criminal in nature. So more details when we go ahead with the PowerPoint and all, but time being, this being the first class, I just wanted to give you a peripheral view, a overall bird's eye view of what's all about in the unit 1. So prosecution and defense, and do you mean to say that the forensic science should be under prosecution? They will always support the version of the prosecution? Is that what we can understand? Do forensic scientists always support prosecution, or are there any instances where they also support defense? Yes?
Well, I don't think so. They should be looking at the truth. But ideally.
See, we have to be under some department. For example, in some states they are straight away under home department, isn't it? In some states they are under police. So what will be the logical defense question the moment when I am summoned as an expert, forensic expert, and when I am standing before the court? And then what will be the logical first question to discredit my report, because I have to give reports to the lab, from the lab to the court. While I present these reports, what will be the logical question that the defense advocate will be putting to me? Because his job is to discredit, prove that I am not trustworthy, isn't it? So what will be his effort to, what weapon he will be employing in order to discredit me? For example, if my laboratory, say Pune laboratory, is under police. Now, the question that the in cross examination the defense lawyer will be putting is that you are under police anyway, and all your reports, they will be biased and they will favor only police. They are not you are not giving the report with all that honest and truthfulness. If suppose he is going to challenge me on that ground, then what defense can I give? What argument can I put forth which can act as a defense to me?
According to me, in that case, you would say that you could bring science. I mean, it's just science. It's just you can present the equations mathematically. In mathematics, equation is the God.
See, you can only say that whatever is being presented to me in the form of some material or some objects, and if you ask some pertinent questions on that, I will do some kind of an experiment, I will adopt some procedure, I will follow some standard operating procedures, I will follow some standard manual and do the required analysis and generate report out of that and present the same in the court of law. So whatever my procedures are there, whatever methodologies I will be adopting, they will be in tune with the procedures which are already been laid down. which are very standard and which have been applied since long, and they are all time tested procedures, and I am employing those procedures. And this being scientific in nature, irrespective of the person who performs those tests, and ultimate result is going to be the same. This will be my argument, isn't it? Because I have to defend, as a scientist, I have to defend myself. Whatever report I give, I have to stand by my report. Isn't it? Just because the defense lawyer is trying to shatter my confidence, I should not be perturbed. I should go by my report. And whatever is the backbone of my report, whatever results that I obtain by following a strict procedure, then I have to substantiate that. I have to elaborate that. Isn't it? Because just because the job of the defense lawyer is to shatter my confidence and prove that I am worthless or not trustworthy, it doesn't mean I should lose confidence, isn't it? So this is what you need to display in the court. There is a manner in which you need to present your or depose your evidence. That is called court demeanor. The way you present yourself in the court of law is called court demeanor, isn't it? Now coming back to the agencies, prosecution and then the defense, and court has to be unbiased, isn't it? And you cannot expect a court to know everything, to have all knowledge in all fields, isn't it? There are some grey areas for him also. Maybe he is converted by virtue of studying law. He is convergent with law procedures, legal procedures, judicial proceedings, isn't it? But it doesn't mean that he should know every field of knowledge, isn't it? So there are some grey areas for him, and whenever a situation warrants that he has to give some judgment on those aspects, definitely he will be requiring the help of some people, specialized people with special knowledge, specialized people, isn't it? Unlike laymen. So they are called experts. They are called experts. By virtue of their qualification, special qualification, by virtue of their experience, by virtue of some skill in that particular trade. So they are called experts. So the Evidence Act gives a list of all those people in all those areas, and whenever they do depose their evidence, it is admitted in the court of law, isn't it? So they are called, and one such specialist is also a forensic scientist. So whenever there are matters before the court of which court has no knowledge, but nevertheless they have to give their judgment, in such areas probably the court or the judge is going to employ some specially skilled people called experts, and their evidence will be taken into account, and that is admitted in the court of law. And Evidence Act is going to give you, list out what are all the things which become relevant and what are all the things which can be admitted in the court of law. And your forensic reports are also one such category which are relevant, which are admitted in the court of law. Now, the defense similarly will be given by the defense lawyer, and their job is very easy. They need not take extra pain to bring in some evidences and show to the court that their client is innocent and all, but prima facie the burden to prove a particular fact or to prove somebody is guilty or otherwise innocent lies squarely on the prosecution. So the burden of proof, as we say, lies on the prosecution, and for defense it is suffice that they create some doubt in the mind of the judge. That is suffice. If they want to prove their case, they need not take extra pain of bringing in some evidences which go to favor the client, but all that they have to do is create a doubt in the mind of the judge. and the onus of proving the guilt or otherwise, at times the burden shifts, That means to bring in some evidence and then show that his client is innocent and all, it gets shifted. For example, a person may be committing murder, maybe it is a murder, but then if the defense can prove that he did this particular thing under fit of anger, or he was drunk when he murdered somebody, or he is insane, so he has lost his mind. If he can bring in the case of the client under these exceptions, they are called general exceptions. So if he can bring in, or if he is trying to take a plea under the general defense, general exceptions, then the burden shifts on to the defense. Otherwise, normally the burden is on the prosecution to prove the case, and to which degree, to what degree he has to prove the case is again defined. Unlike in civil cases where it is only preponderance of evidence, preponderance of occurrence, it is beyond reasonable doubt. The prosecution has to prove the case beyond reasonable doubt. But in civil cases, which is not our point of discussion anyway, but then to bring to your notice the difference between civil and criminal cases, in all civil cases it is only the preponderance of occurrence, but then in criminal case it is beyond reasonable doubt. The reason is that in criminal law, if the offense is proved, if the guilt is proved, then punishment is what is the court can give. Punishment can be given to the accused. It can be a death sentence, it can be a fine, it can be imprisonment, or it can be forfeiture of his property. So his rights are complete, he is deprived of his rights and all. So before you declare somebody as guilty, you have to thoroughly see and understand whether whatever allegations that have been leveled against him are proved beyond reasonable doubt. So even though there is a single iota of doubt, or even though there is a single hypothesis which go to favor his innocence, the courts time and again have understood and they have given the privilege to the accused that even if there is a single iota of doubt, if the defense is successful in creating the required element of doubt in the mind of the judge, then the case will tilt towards the innocence of the person, and then he is given the benefit of doubt. So this is how our judiciary is going to act, and we have different procedural laws, we have substantial laws and all. When we come to unit 3, we will talk more about these laws and all, and then whether a case is bailable, non-bailable, when will the police get their power under CRPC, do they get power at all times, or is there specifically some categories of crimes where they can straight away investigate, and in bailable cases can somebody get a bail, or non-bailable means they don't get bail at all, or what is the difference between anticipatory bail and then normal station bail and all. I mean, these are all law related things. Now when it comes to the basics of crime and all, we need to understand the crime. So crime is as old as mankind, and when you talk of crime, there are different definitions that are given by different criminologists and then the social scientists. What crime is all about, Austin definition. There are so many authors who have contributed to the definition of crime, and then each has got its own advantages and disadvantages, and some definitions are holistic, some definitions are not that holistic and all. So when we see crime and all, we'll try to understand. And we have different systems of judicial functioning, inquisitorial and then adversarial. These are two kinds of systems that we have. And also we also have juror system. Now we have dispensed in India with that system. Then what are different courts and what are their powers and what is the hierarchy of different courts and all, we are going to study about that. And when it comes to definition, as I said, the crime, I mean, all moral wrongs, can we call them as crimes, or what is the difference between a civil wrong and a criminal wrong, and then what are the essential elements of a crime, and then the definition for actus reus, mens rea, and then what will be the causes and consequences, why there are more people who are law abiding, and what are the different rates of a population who are not law abiding, who are rather called as law breakers and all. And then what is the difference, what are the theories which support that a person is born with that trait and then he is labeled as, branded as one. Some genetics do play a lot of role in molding the character of a person, or is it that some situations or some circumstances make a person do some criminal acts or antisocial acts, thereby he is said to commit a crime and all. So what are the different theories of crime? And then the crimes, if you have to classify them, in how many categories can you classify a crime? If suppose there is a property dispute, or if my property is occupied, or if my property is been taken, or if my or stolen, if some robbery happens or some burglary happens in my house and all, I mean, what type of crime it is. There is a classification. For example, crimes related to the property, we can classify them as crimes against property, and if the crimes are against a human body, then we call the crimes against human bodies. And then there are, of course, the traditional crimes, and then with the advent of computers and all traditional crimes are now being committed by using the computer as a target, or as a victim, or as a means, or as a tool to commit the crime and all. So we call such crimes now as cyber assisted crimes, and they, unless somebody knows the technology, because most of the time, as we see in the modern era, that the perpetrator is ahead of the agency who is supposed to investigate the case. So because crime is an aftermath event, so we come into picture, whether it be the police or the judiciary, we come into picture only when the crime has taken place. So we are most of the time reactive rather than proactive. But then the yesteryears, the concept is now getting changed now. Yesteryear scenario, if you see, the forensic science laboratories were restricting themselves only to the four walls of the laboratory, and they were never called to the scenes, and there is no way that they will be called to the scene, and whatever exhibits that are collected from the scene of occurrence or scene of incidents by the police, they will be sending, police will be sending the exhibits to the laboratories, and they will be sending the exhibits along with some pro forma, some letters, some documentation. In that they will be specifically asking the laboratory to do a set or battery of tests on that particular material objects, and then generate some reports, and once these reports are generated, they used to be submitted in the court of law, and whenever summons are issued for their physical presence to be there, in such cases they were visiting the judiciary, and in court also they were not very confident, and they were not able to understand the cross examination, they were not able to clearly tell the advocate as to what are all the procedures that he has adopted, how scientific his report is, and then what is the background based on which he has arrived at these conclusions and all. I mean, he was not very conversant with that, and then most of the time the forensic reports were never taken into cognizance, and most of the time it was a very bad scenario where the cases were ending in acquittal for want of proper evidence from the forensic science laboratory. That used to be the scenario, yesteryear scenario, but then thanks to the evolution in the technology and all, things have changed little. Now earlier the role of a forensic science laboratory, or for that matter the forensic scientist, used to be very, very passive, inactive, and most of the time it used to be a kind of an assistant to the police or adjunct to the police. That used to be the scenario yesteryear, but as things are evolving, now the role of a forensic scientist has changed from a passive role to that of an active role. So active, I mean that since most of the crimes are committed by use of computers, so they have to involve the scientist even from the crime scene management stage onwards. Now, so that means they have become little active in they are actively participating. That means they are also visiting the scene of offence along with the police, or maybe they are the first responders, they are the people who are visiting the scene and helping the police, or rather assisting the police in identifying what are all the material objects which can be reckoned as evidence, and then what are the ways and means to collect those evidences, and then what kind of lifting methods need to be adopted, and what kind of packaging material need to be used to ensure that these evidences reach the forensic science laboratory in a way that they can be better analyzed and can generate a report. So this is now the present scenario. Now days are not very far that the forensic science is going to take a very active, proactive role or preventive role, or we can call that as predictive, preventive or proactive role. That means even before the occurrence of a crime, if you can adopt some methodology so that you can prevent the crime happening, isn't it? So predictive. Now we have lot of new areas coming up like artificial intelligence, then big data analytics, data science. So these are all in place. Now with the help of these things we are able to predict. Now we can generate a lot of algorithms, map up the areas, and then try to understand what are all the areas which are more vulnerable to a particular crime and all. We are able to guess, and since India is a country where resources are minimal, manpower is minimum, so once you know once you can map the areas which are most vulnerable, so you can deploy your people, you can deploy your police or manpower only to those limited areas. That way you will be conserving the manpower and then your resources. So these things are happening, and science is progressing by leaps and bounds, as we all know. So the technology driven crimes are more and more prevalent now. So there is a need to investigate the case by using the forensic evidences or by using forensic science. Now, we also know that there are crimes like cyber crimes and all which have no boundaries, because as such type of crimes are happening in a space called cyberspace, which doesn't have any boundary. It is transnational in nature. So once the crime becomes transnational, we have lot of legal issues involved in it. Extradition is one such issue, and we have jurisdictional issues, in which place the investigation should start, and where, in which state the court proceedings should end itself and all. And there are legal issues, jurisdictional issues, and then investigation wise also there are issues and all, once you say it is transnational in nature. Now, terrorism and insurgency are prevalent in most of the northeast states and all, and then we need to understand what is the strategy, what is the political ideology which is involved in terrorism, and then how is it different from insurgency. We need to understand that. And of course, all crimes are criminals or gangsters are funded, or rather patronaged, they are given patronage by the politicians. So you know that there is a close nexus between politics and crime. So we need to understand what role the politics are going to make in the crime, whether the intervention will enhance or promote the occurrence of crime, or is it going to arrest the occurrence of crime, also we need to understand. And these days media is playing a very big role in deciding the fate of the case. So even before the court can pronounce some judgment, the general public will come to know what is going to be the fate of the case, because there are a lot of debates, there are media kind of a court proceeding trials are parallelly happening. So the general public are getting to know beforehand, or before some criminal is being identified, they are the ones who are going to know whether he is the one who committed the crime, or some innocent person is being implicated in the case. So there are, because media is interested, or the channels are interested in their own ratings, isn't it? So in order to be in the limelight, in order to be in the public domain, so they may not most of the time will be giving the correct picture of the scenario, isn't it? So that way journalism and media have a lot of role to play. And technology, of course, we have discussed technology, it is pervading in all areas now. So crime is also not an exception there. Then the victimology. Now, nowhere in IPC or CRPC, or for that matter in Evidence Act, the concept of victim is there. So the entire criminal justice system is working for the victim, but then unfortunate that victim doesn't find any place in the entire gamut of acts. So why should we have a concept called victimology, and what exactly are we going to study under that particular heading? So victimology is also gaining a lot of importance these days. So hence there is one in the unit they have incorporated the victimology concept also. So all that we need to study is only basic concept, because this is only a diploma, you cannot go into details of because victimology itself is a bigger subject. So only a glimpses of what constitute victimology. I mean, what is the definition of victim? Is it restricted only to the person who is affected, aggravated, or does it affect the entire family or that particular state and all? I mean, we need to study whether it is a wider definition or whether it is whether it is an all-inclusive definition and all, we need to understand all that. And of course, juvenile delinquency is another area, because you cannot who is a juvenile, and then what is the difference between a negligent child or child who is in need of care and protection, and then why some children are more vulnerable, in what families you have such type of juveniles coming up, and then should we have should these juvenile delinquents be tried as it is the case with adults? Do they have to be punished in similar way as the adults are being punished, or do we need to have a separate special courts to trial these particular juveniles and all? There is a separate act called the Juvenile Delinquent, which deals with the juvenile delinquents, which is the Juvenile Justice Act and all. And of course, social change is inevitable, and it will go hand in hand with the crime and all. So these also we need to study, and once we study these things, then the next things will be, we need to understand the hate crimes. I mean, how are they different from honor killings and all? Honor killings have become the fashion of the day nowadays. So honor killings normally it happens between the haves and have-nots, and then in the name of honor of the family, that we are trying to kill the other person. If it is bridegroom from a different caste, from a different sect and all, we can't tolerate. We don't have that. We have our own culture, and also we try to take revenge, and then right in the name of family we try to kill people, and also honor killing or honor crimes are there. And then there are cause and effect theories about criminal behavior as well as the crimes. We may have to study that also. And then it comes to the fourth unit, it talks about definition, and all that we see in the crime scene cannot be construed as an evidence. So what traits or what characters of a material objects do we need to consider before we call that as an evidence? And then how many different types of evidences can be there? Does it mean only the physical evidences, or only the physical format they have, or can we call something as which is not perceivable as evidence? And then what are intellectual property rights? And then how are those evidences different from the tangible evidences, intangible evidences? And then where is the need for the police officers to collect evidences? And then what happens if a wrong procedure is adopted for a wrong sample, and right procedure rather for a right sample, or wrong procedure for a wrong sample, and how it is going to become disastrous and all. And all the more when you talk of some materials that are available in the scene of offense, and if you lose them, the problem is that you are losing it forever. So unlike analytical chemistry, the forensic science is something different, though in both the areas you do the analysis, but in one case, in analytical chemistry, you know the compound in hand, and then it is a pure sample, it is not contaminated, and then you know the set of procedures that need to be adopted and all. Everything is very clear, and you are not dealing with any mixture there, you are not dealing with any contamination over there. But when it comes to forensic science analysis, things are quite different. Most of the time you may have to deal with unknown samples whose identity is not known to you, and who about its nature also you have no idea, that is whether it's a pure sample or it is a mixture of samples, or whether it is contaminated or pure, or whether it is decomposed, disintegrated. These kind of uncertainties are very many. When you suggest you to send your mail, that I'll try to send it on the mail powder.
Yes, if you want, you can
What a create one, I mean, same WhatsApp group, everybody can or include so that I can also rough move through me. Bill powder होना चाहिए कैसा बिल powder है चिपक जाए हम देखना चिपक जाना तो पूरा एकदम हल्का सा है calculate start giving their email so that I can link up with the mail only.
That will be great help, ma'am. Thank you so much.
I'm only through this platform and I cannot see everybody's face, so I'm only addressing everybody through this platform. In smooth, rough, take course, so the link should be absorbent. इसको absorbent नहीं होना चाहिए, चिपक जाने का गुण ऐसा होना नहीं इसको, and should be the thing. The powder should not be too cast. Of course, all fingerprint powders are very cast because we try to import them. But you can take patent on that also, which doesn't indicate net activity. Issues are, but I don't give some pound. इतना है हम सोच to connect my से use भी हो गया, office effective भी हो गया, हर एक work कर सकते वैसा, उसके तो patent सोच सकते वैसा, bake where तो all should be at least 2-3 they should not die report on different cut students of my experience and my knowledge. So a little I have. I'm trying so hence this establish a proper link and all. So any other queries or clarification हो जाए थोड़ा हम थोड़ा लेते हैं क्लास में तो उतना खराब हो जो भी होने वाला वो खराब हो जाएगा बर्बाद नंबर नहीं इसका सर तो जब भी बर्डन ना के सरफेस के ऊपर गिविंग ना क्या बस थोड़ा को एक 5 ग्लास बाय ऐसा ऐसा कंटेनर के इसको अप्लाई करूंगी देन दे हैव यूज्ड सम ब्रश दैट ब्रश those brushes so I brush most of this they don't want initially brush and books करते हैं ना paint brush चलेगा paint brush ब्रश का कैरेक्टर्स कौन सा होना चाहिए जैसा पाउडर रेफरिंग सो मेनी बुक्स को and essence we try to not in one and then try to give you that soft copy of it.
That would be good, great.
And I have also yes opened up whatever for this is dogs have not can be somebody is collected that old students are in a problem small से मतलब क्या है blogs and हमको दिखना ना इतना छोटा open it should be to समझना नहीं so that the results का क्या है hair है ना results बोलते देखो तो fine होना चाहिए should be fine isn't it can put it be scoring and not be on each mind so that should be so सब free होना चाहिए वो results इतना natural था होना चाहिए my telegram should be will be more informative and which cannot be discussed in a classroom platform. So I have a Telegram group also. If you want, you can join. If you want me to share, I don't mind sharing that.
Thank you, ma'am.
So are the free up. Only give those of you as interested. But I have very YouTube videos also. Those of you are interested in knowledge, want to keep updated with the latest happening and all. These blogs will help. You can give me the list of those who are interested. I can furnish all the details. So can we call it a day?
Yes, ma'am.
I think we can leave the meeting now. Why am I taking so much pain? ये भी दे रहे वो भी दे रहे कथा भी सुना रहे क्यों ताकि आप उनको अच्छा समझ में आए. I have two extremities. The people who are already background, people don't have. I have to match both the participants, isn't it? So that is the reason I am going slow little, and I'll be little serious. Don't think itna to wo sab malum hai what new things this lady is telling. People will be under that impression, but just bear with me. For other people also, I have to bring them on par with you. Good evening. Should we wait or should we start off? Because only I could see only 18 members joining. The strength, I believe, we'll wait for a few minutes. So the strength as per the list that is given to me, 32 participants should be there. हाँ, observe now, brush कैसा अप्लाई करना है, टैप हो गया, लोकेट हो गया, विजिबिलिटी आ गया, then what are you supposed to do? You to further ज़्यादा पाउडर तो डालेंगे हमारे बट ज़्यादा पाउडर से नहीं दिखेगा ना इतना अच्छा. एक्स्ट्रा पाउडर जो है you to just remove with the help of the brush by moving across the by moving along the ridge flow, not across. Across माने ऐसा, along means vertical. Across means horizontal. Horizontally कभी नहीं था. And unidirectional. ऐसा नहीं. I request you to send your mail so that I'll try to send it through mail only in that case.
Yes, madam. Yes, madam. If you want, we can.
Please create one. I mean, in the same WhatsApp group, everybody can send your email so that I can also, I mean, link it through mail only.
I have done it today, madam.
Right. For you it's okay, but those who have not done, those who are present now in the class, online class, can also understand this and then they can start giving their email so that I can link up with the mail only.
That will be great help, ma'am. Thank you so much.
I am only through this platform and I cannot see everybody's face, so I am only addressing everybody through this platform. They should also take initiative of sending their mails so that linking can happen through mail.
People can open their video and they can just show their faces. That is not a problem.
Opening the video and all will again create havoc because bandwidth is not that much. I am placed in a, put up in a place which doesn't have almost rural scenario, which doesn't have net connectivity. Lot of issues are there, but I just don't want to give excuses on that ground. But I am trying my level best to connect myself because office at times it doesn't work. So I am taking pain to deliver this lecture from my residence, where I have alternate at least 2-3 means of doing that.
Thank you so much.
Because I don't want to deprive my students of my experience and then my knowledge, whatever little I have. So that is the reason I am trying my level best to connect, establish a proper link and all. So any other queries or clarifications?
Is there any prescribed book for this book?
See, a number of books are there, but then I don't mind giving, at the end of the syllabus also a lot of books have been listed. So you can buy any book, or otherwise I strongly believe that students most of the time they will not have access to many books. Those who can invest on books, it's okay, but most of the students, they don't want to initially invest on books and all. For them we are giving lot of notes. NFSU it takes lot of trouble in making good notes by referring so many books, and then the essence of it we try to put as a nutshell in one book and then try to give you that soft copy of it.
That would be good, great.
And I have also voluntarily I have opened up lot of telegram groups and blogs and all. If somebody is interested, because my old students who are IPS probationers and all, I used to open up these blogs and then these telegram groups open free of cost to some of them. So that whatever queries live they have when dealing the live cases and all, I told them not to hesitate, they can put up those queries to me, and I am offering my services that way also, free of course, freelancing. So if you are interested, you can join my telegram group. That will be more informative and which cannot be discussed in a classroom platform. So I have a telegram group also. If you want, you can join. If you want me to share, I don't mind sharing that.
Thank you, ma'am.
Blogs and also are there free of cost, and also those of you who are interested, and I have some YouTube channels also. Those of you who are interested in gaining more knowledge or want to keep abreast with latest happening and all, these blogs will help. So you can give me the list of list of those who are interested, I can furnish all the details. So can we call it a day?
Yes, ma'am.
I think we can leave the meeting now. Tomorrow same timing with a different platform, of course.
Google Meet.
Google Meet.
Okay, good night, everyone.
Yes. Yes. Welcome.